Yeah, let's go! Alright, well, good morning everybody. I know he just gave a basic rundown on me, but this is my first time speaking, so if I stutter or do anything, feel free to point at me and laugh. But I've been drinking Monster all day, so my heart's pounding right now, so if I have a heart attack, I don't know, at least I know where I'm going. But as Sam said, I'm covering chapters 3 and 4. So for those of you who weren't here last week, I'm gonna tell us about chapters 1 and 2, but I'm gonna start off with a little story about myself. But real quick, I'm gonna ask a question. So, who here has brothers or sisters, right? Everybody's raising their hand. Okay, that's good. So put it down real quick. Who here fights with their brothers or sisters all the time? All right, now I see more hands. That's not good, but okay. I have a brother. Yeah, I see his hand. You fight all the time. Huh? No. I don't know if you want to do that. What about you, ma'am? Sure. Yeah. Anybody that's family related. But I have a brother that's 3 years older than me. His name is Ethan. And growing up, we fought all the time, whether it was 9 in the morning or 9 at night. We fought constantly. And I remember one Thanksgiving of all days, we fought on Thanksgiving. And we were going at it. We were fighting for honor and glory, and we just wanted to beat each other up. He managed to pin me on the ground and grab my own hands and make me slap myself repeatedly. So stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself. You guys have probably heard that before. You've done it to your little siblings, or they've done it to you, I don't know. But it's terrible, it's degrading. But he went on for about 5 minutes, and my whole left side of my face was red. It was terrible, but eventually my mom stopped it, and we were in the car riding back. And while I was sitting there, I was thinking how to get back at him, because there's no way I'm going to let him off this time. So he's just sitting there looking out through the window, and I decided to go for a surprise attack. So what I do is I cock my arm back, take a deep breath, and I tap his shoulder. The second he turns around, I punch him straight in the nose. Just like, boom, blood everywhere, blood's on his shirt, he's screaming, my mom's screaming. I don't know, I felt like Batman, I felt awesome. But my dad stopped the car, Ethan ran around the car, pulled me out, and started beating me up. But I played the game, I knew the rules, and I knew it was gonna happen. I didn't regret it, and he didn't regret it. But as we got older, we fought more and more, and the battles only got worse and worse. And eventually they kind of just stopped, because we matured, I guess. And after a little while, I realized I always started the fights. I threw the first punch, or I said something that made him mad. And I was a hypocrite. And who here knows what a hypocrite is? Well, a lot of people, all right? Well, for those of you who don't know, a hypocrite is somebody that starts something and doesn't want them to finish it. So say, I'm never gonna eat McDonald's again, and my friend Luke's never gonna eat McDonald's, and I see him eating it the next day. I'm gonna call him out for that because he was a hypocrite saying that he wasn't gonna eat McDonald's. So in this sense, I started stuff and I didn't let him finish it. But the beauty of that story is we're all hypocrites in our own way, whether it be beating up your cousins or brothers like I was, or just talking behind somebody's back. We're all hypocrites. And hypocrites have been around long before we were around and long before Jesus was around. They're everywhere in the Bible, and Jesus pointed them out constantly. So if you read any of the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you'll see he points them out like nothing. Like it's his favorite sport. It's like a sport for him. But he goes around pointing people out as hypocrites. And before him, there was this man named Jonah, and that's where we start talking about him, because he was the biggest hypocrite around. So in the book of Jonah, it starts with God telling him to go speak to the Ninevites. And he was a Hebrew. Jonah was a Hebrew. And the Hebrews hated the Ninevites. So it was like me and my brother Ethan, we hated each other. So Jonah decides to run the opposite way and go against God's will. So while he's running on a ship, God gets him overboard, and he's in the water sinking, and then a big fish shows up and swallows him. And he sits in that stomach for 3 days. Like, it's disgusting. I imagine he has a lawn chair, he's just sitting there waiting to be spat out. And it smells terrible. It sounds like you hear whale noises every 3 seconds. It's like, arr. It's terrible. It smells disgusting. And then eventually it spits him out on dry land right next to Nineveh. So that's God's way of showing him, like, hey man, get to it. You got it, man. So Jonah decides, if I'm here, I might as well. So he walks into the town. The town is so large that it takes 3 days to get to the center of it. So he walks for a day and then gives up, and he leans over to the nearest person and he says, hey, 40 more days and Nineveh will be overthrown. That 8 words right there on this screen and that screen, that gets from the center of the town to the king. So it's like gossip at school. Has anybody ever told a lie about you at school maybe? Even if you're homeschooled? I don't know, I said something about my brother and he heard about it somehow. I think my mom ratted me out, guys. But that word got to the king of Nineveh, and he decided to proclaim a fast, and everybody has to wear potato sacks. So nobody eats for 3 days, and everybody's wearing potato sacks, including animals. So you just be in the street and you see a pig walking around with a potato sack on it. If you know what a potato sack is, it's a funny image in your mind. But that goes on for 3 days, and it says right here When God saw what they did and how they turned from their evil ways, he relented and did not bring on them the destruction that he had threatened. So God forgave them for all the sins that they'd done. And eventually Jonah hears about this, and he responds with this. To Jonah, it seemed very wrong and became angry. He said to God, "This is what I tried to forestall by fleeing to Tarshish." It's a funny word. I sound like Jar Jar Binks. But he said, "I tried to stop this because I knew you were going to forgive them." And then he says, "I knew you were a gracious and compassionate God, slow to anger and abounding in love, a God who relents from sending calamity or destruction. Now, Lord, take away my life, for it is better me to die than to live." So he's saying to God, I knew you were going to forgive my worst enemy. So anybody here have a worst enemy? I know I have one. It's kind of my brother, all of us, right? So God forgives his worst enemy, and he says, I knew you were going to do that, so just let me die. Which is a stupid excuse. So Jonah gets angry at God, and he starts arguing with God, and eventually just gives up. He walks out of the city, he sits down in the desert, and he's chilling under a tree. And while he's sitting there, he gets hot, because it's in the desert, as I'd imagine. It's hot. It's hot here. It's way more hot in the desert. So he's sitting there, and he's sitting under a tree, and God grows the tree so that there's some shade for him. And then Jonah falls asleep under the tree. And the next morning, the tree's dead. And so he has no more shade. He's sitting in the hot sun. And while he's sitting there, he realizes this, and he asks God, "Why would you kill this tree for me? Why? Like, all I've done for you, I'm a prophet, and you killed this tree?" And God says to him, "You have been more concerned about this plant, though you did not tend to it or make it grow. It sprang up overnight and died overnight. And should I not have concern for the great city of Nineveh, in which there are more than 120,000 people, who cannot tell their right hand from their left hand, and also many animals?" So he's calling out Jonah for all that he's done. He's saying, you care more about this tree, that you did nothing to help it live. You care more about it than the people of Nineveh, who proclaimed their life for me. You claim to be a Christian, yet you don't want to work with me. That's a hypocrite. And Jonah is one of the biggest hypocrites in the Bible. And right after he says that to Jonah, the book just ends. And it's left for us to realize, or think on it, that Jonah gave up. He realized that he was wrong, and he just gave right up. So after that, it's left for all of us to read it and then interpret it in our own way. And it may seem like it's about a tree enthusiast, also who hates the Ninevites, but it's God's way of showing us that he's gracious and he loves us no matter how many times we mess up. No matter how many times we run away like Jonah did, or even if we don't live for them like the Ninevites did, he'll always love us and be ready to forgive us. So there's two kinds of people in this room right here. There's people who are like Jonah, who are Christians, but they don't exactly live their way like a Christian should be. Or there's people who are Ninevites who don't know God, but God's ready to forgive them and love them. So for the people who are like Jonah, I just want you to know that God wants to speak to you, and he wants to use you to make an impact in people's lives, like Jonah did with the Ninevites. And for the Ninevites out there, people who are like the Ninevites, God wants you to understand that he loves you, even if you don't know him. He wants to have a relationship with you, and he wants you to go out there and become Jonah. So if this sounds intriguing to you, what you want to do is you want to make one step towards God. And that step may be reading the Bible, praying, going to church more often, or small group. And small group's the best way to do that because it knocks out all of them at once. So join a small group if you want, but take that one step. And if you don't know what it is, come talk to me, come talk to Sam, come talk to anybody. We'll help you with it. And taking that one step is the best step you can ever take. And say you take that step and then you stumble, you stop reading the Bible, you stop going to church, God's going to be ready to forgive you. It's like a baby. If a baby takes 2 steps and falls over, you're not going to call it stupid. You're going to say, yeah, come on, man, you took 2 steps. That's what God's like. He doesn't want to ridicule you. He wants to let you know that he's rooting for you. So he'll always be rooting for you. And if there's only one thing that I want you guys to get out of this, is that God doesn't run away from runaways. No matter how messed up you think you are, or how messed up people tell you are, maybe your friends, your fellow students, teachers, parents maybe, I don't know. They might tell you that you're messed up, but God thinks that you're perfect. He loves you, and he always has, and he always will. So don't forget, God doesn't run away from runaways. He'll always be waiting for you and wants an authentic relationship with you. So that's, we're just going to pray real quick. I'm going to pray over you guys. And if you want to take that step, come talk to me, come talk to Sam, like I said, we'll help you. So can we all bow our heads real quick? Dear Lord, I thank you for this day. Thank you for everybody here. And I pray that if anybody took anything out of this, it's that God does not run away from runaways. He wants a relationship with them. And if they need to take that step, you show them what that right step is. And they can build a relationship with you and start to get to know you, know that you love them for what they are, and that they're perfect in your eyes. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, everybody. That's, yeah.
Woo! Give it up for Tyler. Did you do great? he worked all month on that message too. He did a great job.